And that's all I know about Tendo Setsuna's past. Quite the shocking tale, right?
Camael's expression soured.
Too shocking, if you ask me. If I had known at the time we first met, I might have taken his head without hesitation.
I forgot. Am I the one narrating here, or is someone else?
No clue.
I don't know if it's me.
I think it was Lilith.
Very helpful, Narfi.
Is there any way of knowing?
Okay, Lilith, you narrate too.
Okie dokie. He was merely created to be that. If there's a grave sin to be found here, it's the very concept itself.
The sin of pride. It is, as you say, his very existence. His very existence is that of the Tower of Babel. Not that it matters much at this point.
Well, it's just that lower class angels might find the story too disturbing. So keep it a secret for the time being. So I narrate.
Go ahead.
Okay. Camael nodded. If he were a demon, Lilith would have had to think of drafting up a contract, but eventually concluded that, considering Camael's straight-laced nature, no such thing would be necessary here. She could probably even trust him to take her side in case Setsuna's identity got uncovered by others. Okie dokie, guess I'll head back home. Wonder which one of the remaining two will show up as the third Straton's master.
Hino Wataru, or possibly Oshibe Hagane?
And then it's off to uncharted territory from the fifth stratum. Say, Camael, just what exactly is beyond that point?
The stairway to heaven. What else?
Do you truly believe that? I'm talking in third person. Her question left Camael visibly shaken, but it lasted no longer than a second. The angel swiftly regained his composure and was about to part his lips. And no lying, it's fine if I do it, but you're an angel. Camael sighed and said no more.
As for what we discussed regarding Setsuna, my lips are sealed, so I'd appreciate it if...
Yeah, I get it. I won't tell the soul. Go on, say it. Camael closed his eyes and pulled out a smoking pipe from his pocket, looking more like a brooding delinquent than an uptight student council president. Lilith, too, decided to take a quick breather, and picked up a can of coffee from the nearby vending machine. She loved the persistently sweet flavor of the beverage despite its low-sugar nature.
A vice I picked up on Earth. Uriel was willing to look the other way, but Gabrielle and Raphael were not so understanding. In the end, I barely ever got the chance to smoke up here.
Kinda like when humans banish their smokers to the veranda, right? Oh, I personally don't smoke, by the way. You know the drill, pure and chaste and all that jazz.
I sometimes have a hard time comprehending these demon jokes of yours.
I was serious, though. Totes serious. Camael ignored the demon's cheeky follow-up. He exhaled, letting a long trail of white smoke drift sluggishly towards the skies. After a brief period of silence, Camael once again spoke up.
Maybe heaven no longer exists at all. It could have been destroyed by him, or fell to ruin on its own.
The angel's words carried an inexplicable quality of sadness to them.
Yet, here we are still, struggling to live. As long as we draw breath, we might press ever onward. Even if it's ultimately in the Lord's hands, we must endeavor to make the journey ourselves.
You have a knack for motivational speeches, and I like that. Just make sure not to let that bravery turn to recklessness.
Point taken. But everything beyond the 5th stratum will be unknown territory to us. If only we still had Messenger at our side.
Seriously, where has that gal ran off to?
I do not know. Some say she's beyond the 5th stratum. Others claim she came to reside in another world. Of course, some have said that she may be hiding here at the academy.
Wasn't Messenger a claustrophile, though? I can totally picture her all cooped up inside a vaulting box. Camael took Lilith's joke at face value and vowed to look into the matter.
There are just so many things that still elude us.
The angel let out another sigh. His words were pregnant with anxiety over an uncertain future. Yeah, you angels were meant to guide, save, and occasionally punish mortals who themselves knew nothing about their future. But your own future was practically set in stone.
Same goes for you demons, albeit your roles were the exact opposite.
Pretty much. We thought it would go on forever. How naive could we be? We scorned and ridiculed the humans who desperately sought eternal happiness. But here we are now. Camael's expression turned bitter as he shrugged.
You still remember what happened shortly before Tokyo Babel was erected?
You mean the wave of mass suicide sweeping through angels and demons alike? Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday. The angels were exiled from heaven. The demons had lost hell. Their circumstances may have differed, but one thing was common in both angels and demons. Their days of living in tranquil idleness had come to an end. The once clear and definite future was all at once shrouded in deep fog, leaving nothing but an uncertain road to be followed with no promise of fulfillment at its end. The angels and demons who found themselves unable to cope with that fear ultimately took their own lives. Suicide was a sin, regardless of who committed it, angels, demons, or humans. And in a world without heaven or hell, their souls would have only one destination. An eternity in nothingness.
With no destination to follow, their souls simply cease to be, right?
That seems to be the logical assumption, yeah. The gates of heaven and hell had both been sealed tight. The souls of the deceased would not find refuge there, nor will they continue to wander the cruel seas around Tokyo Babel. The angels and demons who died simply expired, their souls melting into nothingness within the hour. The two fell into a deep silence. They had hope, albeit a faint one, while their impending doom loomed in the distant horizon. Numerous powerful angels and demons were defeated by Tokyo Babel's masters, and they would not come back to life. Once destroyed, they would disappear for good. The future was shrouded in fog. Those who remained had lost their way, left with nothing but faint glimpses of hope and certain doom flickering in the darkness of uncertainty. All the while fumbling for leads, believing in themselves, yet ever wrestling with the fear that only an empty void would await them at their journey's end. They had no choice but to press onward, one step at a time, not entirely unlike them. They for whom death meant the ultimate end.
humans.
Have it rough, don't they? The words felt heavy on their lips, in ways he had never experienced before. Anyway, guess I'll be on my way then.
Very well. Do inform me once you complete all preparations for your journey to the third stratum.
Will do. See ya. With Camael's final words still ringing in her ears, Lilith gave the angel a wave and left.
You know what, Manny? You want to narrate?
Back in the night duty room, she was met with a devastating sight.
Sorami, I'm done peeling the potatoes.
Let me see. This is no good, Mr. Astaroth. I don't know much about how it is for demons or angels, but us humans can't eat the sprouts. They're poisonous.
I'm sorry.
He was peeling potatoes. Astaroth was peeling potatoes in an apron.
Would it be acceptable like this?
Yep, good job. Okay, give me just a sec.
Lilith became the living embodiment of an smiley. To be fair, most people would have reacted similarly in her position. Sorami spotted the astonished Lilith and waved her hand in her direction, kitchen knife still in hand. Astaroth swiftly dodged the blade.
Welcome back, Lilith. Could you give me a hand over here? Don't force yourself if you're too exhausted, though. Lilith!
Sorry, but this was entirely too much for my poor soul to handle, so it went wandering around Pandora for a bit. Anyway, care to explain what's going on here, Astaroth?
She dragged me along to help her with her shopping. And one thing led to another, and this is where I ended up.
As he answered Lilith, Astaroth busied himself with cutting up the onions. The two had been making meat and potato soup, and he seemed really into it.
One thing led to another.
Lilith seemed beyond overwhelmed.
I'm thinking of doing simmered amberjack with radish. They looked really good. We'll just chop up the amberjack and cut the peeled radish into round slices and the rest will work out, I'm sure.
Huh? Chop... peel?
Lilith's confusion elicited a brief sigh from Sorami. The demon was a complete novice at cooking, much like she had thought. That should certainly not have come as a surprise, though.
Sorry. I take it you've never done this before? I'll show you here.
Sorami's apologetic tone made Lilith's fighting spirit bubble to the surface.
I'm the Witch of the Night, remember? Don't take me lightly. I can peel a tiny little radish as much as the next gal. Just watch me.
No, it's fine. I really don't want to give you too big of a challenge.
Even as an amateur cook, Lilith figured she could handle the task of neatly cutting the body of a fish.
I can do it. Hand me that knife.
Well, okay. Thanks a bunch.
Can she really do it?
Lilith instantly shot a sharp glare at Astaroth.
You said something?
Lilith put on her borrowed apron, washed her hands, and solemnly approached the fish in question. Sorami whispered a low, "Just chop into the appropriate pieces." From behind. There was only one kind of chopping in Lilith's dictionary. Lilith made a few broad slices and noted no problems whatsoever. Next up was cutting the radish into round slices. Child's play, really. First, it needed to be peeled. But where would one begin to peel? And how much?
Peel, 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 peel! Peel, 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 peel! Peel, 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 peel! I'm done!
And with that, Lilith turned to present her peeled radish to Sorami, who looked at the demon, utterly horrified. Said demon returned the gesture with a similar facial expression of her own.
Is this a radish?
No, this, my dear, is a pen.
Despite having volunteered to peel the radish, Lilith instead ended up with a stick the size of a pencil.
I'll, go peel the radish myself.
I think that's for the best. Yeah.
Lilith then promptly crouched in the corner of her room to sulk and brood.
Are you absolutely certain you were once Adam's wife?
Hey James, can you turn up your gain slightly?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Are you absolutely certain you were once Adam's wife?
It's better.
I didn't do any housework, so actually I ran away before I ever had to.
She had quite the life, to say the least. Despite all these trials and tribulations, though, the meal was ultimately finished.
Okay, that's done. This one still needs a bit. What else? Ah, Lilith! I ended up making quite a lot in my enthusiasm, so feel free to invite anyone over who might want to come.
Lilith rose up from her own little brooding area in the corner, looking somewhat displeased.
All right. Anyone is a bit broad of a category, though. Guess I'll just invite anyone.
Then how about Lucifuge?
I don't want to completely ruin my dining experience, so no.
Lilith's response came swiftly and without hesitation. Once she had left, Astaroth whispered a brief phrase to Lucifuge, who at that very moment was concealing himself in the Master's shadow.
You heard the lady.
James, you do a voice for him too. Very elderly voice.
Oh, it doesn't bother me one bit, my lord. Not one bit. Not at all.
Astaroth couldn't help but detect a hint of sadness in his trusted aide's tone.
I was robbed my primary senses. Sight, hearing, smelling. All I felt was the faint caress of the air against my skin. My pain had mostly faded. Another day in the state would guarantee a full recovery. Despite having plenty of things to think about, for the time being, I decided to focus on recuperation. Suddenly felt someone tapping on my shoulder. Recalling the sensation I experienced just a short while before, I slowly opened my eyes. As I did, the fragrant aroma of dinner filled my nostrils. Turning around, I made sure to thank Sorami had just woken me. Thank you for waking me, Sorami.
Not quite.
Raziel, her index finger lightly tapping my shoulder, looked thoroughly displeased. Sorry. I did not realize it was you, Raziel. Is dinner ready?
Sorami told me to come wake you up, so I did. That's all. As for dinner, it's almost done.
Got it. Raziel stepped out of the closet, returned to her seat. The harsh glare she gave in my direction as she left was quite something indeed. Huh? Either way, it did not matter. It wasn't like I did anything wrong. The reason for her seemingly foul mood must lie elsewhere.
Okay, stew, amberjack, sardine burger, miso soup with mushrooms, and plenty of rice. All done.
Sorami took off her apron as she wiped her forehead of sweat. Lilith returned as well with impeccable timing. Behind her stood Camael, Eve, and Belial.
Hiya, folks. We let ourselves in.
Good evening, everyone.
Japanese cooking, huh? Do you think it's fine if I, am not entirely familiar with table manners and such?
Anyway, here's your 3 guests. I had a feeling Adam would kind of spoil the mood. Like, he would go all mediocre, this meal is quite unsatisfactory. The table and such.
That's one assessment I could certainly agree with. Seeing how Eve made no effort to correct her, I assumed Lilith was completely right about Adam.
Astaroth, what in the blazes are you doing here?
I'm the one who made the stew.
Can you turn up the game even more, James?
I'm the one who made the stew.
Even more. Still with me, James?
I'm still with you.
Okay, your voice is just kind of low. Astaroth uttered the fact that like it was the most normal thing in the world. Camael and Belial simply exchanged a confused look.
He really did. I made the finishing touches, though.
Never thought I'd live to see the day, but here we are.
Despite having lived for thousands of years, Belial still found this quite an astounding accomplishment.
Do we have bread?
Well, I cooked something with rice in mind, so I didn't really bother buying any bread. Not a fan of rice, I guess?
It's not that.
Huh? You one of them folk who can't hold chopsticks?
Camael's face turned bright red as Belial flashed a wolfish grin.
Don't be ridiculous. I can hold one just fine, even with my eyes closed.
Of course you can. I mean, you are the guy with 12,000 angels of destruction under his command. Am I right?
Of course. The weight of chopsticks pales in comparison to my responsibilities. I could hold one in each hand.
Dual-wielding chopsticks, a vital skill to have in a self-respecting eating contest. I would say that's considered somewhat rude.
Of course it is. That's why I won't do it.
Fresh rivulets of sweat dribbled down Camael's forehead, his cheeks flushing redder and redder from heat.
Camael, God teaches us not to be ashamed of our clumsiness.
I don't remember any such teaching. Besides, I'm not even clumsy. I'm not!
Well, whatever. Anyway, go take your seats, guys. Wait, do we even have enough?
Sorami looked unpleasantly surprised. Now that I thought about it, I did forget to bring more.
Oh, very well. Here you go.
With a single snap of Astaroth's fingers, the seats multiplied in numbers.
One, 2, 3, 4, One for me, Lord Astaroth, Lord Belial, and Lord Camael. Just perfect.
Oh, no wonder why they call you a demon lord.
A trivial feat, once you get used to it. Even you could pull it off, I'd imagine.
Could she? Either way, Sorami certainly believed it, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Everyone present took their respective seats at the well-laden table and placed their palms together for a brief prayer.
Won't you pray to God, Sorami?
Well, you see, I'm gonna pray to this amberjack, and that beef, and that radish over yonder, and all the other delicious treats.
I'd certainly never heard of that one before.
Person didn't give it that much thought, offered my prayers as the occasional demanded. In this case, prayed to God and gave thanks for the food. I want to call me an impious person without objecting the slightest.
Anyway, let's dig in, guys.
That's us. Each guest offered their prayers in their respective ways before picking up their chopsticks. The way Camael held his was clearly wrong. It allowed too large a distance between the individual sticks, which made it difficult for him to grab hold of any given piece of food at a time. He wasn't holding them firm either. Even when he managed to pick up a bite of food, it wobbled unsteadily in the grasp of his chopsticks.
Mr. Camael? Watch out, your radish is falling!
He managed to hold a circular piece of radish, and pulled his arm back so fast the thing never reached his mouth.
I know, but...
Clearly aware of the fact that his attempt was doomed to failure, Camael promptly thrust his left hand under the radish.
There you go. The deadly sin of pride in action.
It astounds me that you command an entire army of angels.
Camael, just go ahead and use a fork and spoon.
Once Camael placed his radish on a plate and turned from washing his hands, Raziel offered him a pair of Western utensils. Incidentally, Raziel was surprisingly skillful at handling her chopsticks.
You should have given me these earlier if you had them all this time. That radish was hot. But I'm telling you.
It was you who insisted on using chopsticks, I believe. Camael hung his head in shame, as everyone also nodded in agreement.
Speaking of radish, this stuff is really good. Got a good strong flavor, and it goes perfectly with the rice.
Belial was busily popping radish after radish into his mouth, as Astaroth looked at him with a glare cold as ice.
Would it hurt you to not focus on that one type of food?
He's right. We're gonna run out of radish at this rate. Are you even listening to me? You sorry excuse for a demon lord.
Belial's chopsticks were met by Lilith's.
Cut it out!
Sorami rose to her feet, but Lilith and Belial remained locked firmly in place, one set pressing against the others.
Hand over that radish.
I'm not letting you hug all of them for yourself.
Sorami slipped behind the two demons and karate chopped them both on the back of the head.
My head!
Behave yourself at the table! Mr. Belial, don't eat all of the radishes. Try some of the amberjack and stew as well.
Following Sorami's fierce scolding, the two promptly quieted down.
I'm sorry.
And so am I. Holy hell. This stew is wicked good.
I know, right?
Sorami returned to her seat, smiling.
Indeed, it is quite skillfully made, if I do say so myself.
Astaroth was busy admiring the very food he made himself. Then again, it was delicious. Eve took a few elegant bites out of the food, smiling gently when our eyes met. Which was odd. It hadn't been that long since I punched her husband in the face. I exhaled a silent sigh as my mind found itself occupied by such truly nonsensical thoughts. Now is not the time to think of blood and battle. Only Raziel, sitting right next to me, wore an expression of grave seriousness. Raziel, is something wrong?
It's delicious.
With that, she placed another chopstick's worth of rice into her mouth, occasionally jotting something into the notebook she kept at the side of the table. A brief glance at its contents revealed she was taking notes on flavor and type of cuisine. She also wanted to try her hand at cooking. Raziel. Having received no answer from Raziel for a while, I decided to give her shoulders a gentle shake.
Setsuna, can I help you?
Are you interested in cooking? Upon hearing my question, Raziel froze up for a moment, then violently shook her head.
No. It's not like I'm interested or anything.
Let's see. If you ever change your mind, asking Sorami for advice would probably be your best bet. Raziel responded with a somewhat dejected nod, then went on to lazily nibble away at her food.
My,
Noticing our exchange, Eve covered her mouth in surprise. Yes?
nothing, don't mind me.
Eve giggled to herself, simply implying that I would get no answer out of her today. Either way, I turned my attention to the food and endeavored to stuff my belly with as much as possible, so I could swiftly regain my lost strength. Sorami threw a wide grin and a quick, "Wow, what a little glutton you are," my way, compared to all the other people, that is, demons and angels. In the room, she didn't seem to have eaten all that much, which I found somewhat regrettable. Any event or dinner party progressed without incident. As the various guests had finished chatting, some recalling fond memories of the past, and Sorami was in the middle of sipping a hot cup of green tea, Astaroth abruptly spoke up.
Now that I think about it, I came here to congratulate you.
Congratulate? My initial confusion was soon overtaken by the swift realization that we did indeed topple the second stratum.
Really? I'm so sorry for dragging you into this.
You mustn't. It was I who offered to help, and I said I was free.
Astaroth then rose to his feet.
With that said, I have high hopes that you will be successful on the third stratum as well.
After glancing my way for a split second, Astaroth went on in an observant tone.
And do make this your top priority. Pilgrims must value their duty above all else.
In other words, he wanted me to recover as soon as possible. Belial produced a wide grin. Understood. I should waste no time. I looked the two demon lords in the eye. Burning with purpose, Astaroth stepped closer, cupping my chin in his fingers. Behind us, Sorami was freaking out, for some reason.
I like that look in your eyes. You're going to do me proud. I know it.
He then left the room, his devilish smile never once fading.
Gosh darn, Julie, that sure was something.
What sort of country bumpkin are you exactly?
You see, his origins date back to this one goddess, so...
Astaroth's origins could indeed be traced back to goddess Astarte? Or, if one were to go back even further back, the Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar. which could explain why Astaroth is occasionally depicted as a female demon.
He truly is one mysterious person, isn't he?
For the record, I could say the same about you.
Eve responded with a giggle, then stood up.
I shall excuse myself if you don't mind. Adam must be waiting for me. Sorami, thank you so much for the meal.
Oh, no problem. Did you, like it?
Yes, it was very delicious.
Eve gave her a warm smile, then stepped outside. As for Camael,
I'm telling you, that's not the way you hold it. You do it like this. Look.
That won't let me hold it firmly.
Arrgh. I can't believe how much you suck at this.
Oh, come on. Just use a fork and spoon.
You want me to be the only one waving a fork around in a room full of chopsticks? Imagine the shame and disgrace.
I could sympathize. I really could.
Why don't you take those chopsticks? You could use them to practice.
Oh, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. In any case, I must leave immediately.
Camael trotted off triumphantly, chopsticks in hand. Belial simply shook his head and returned to sipping his tea.
I fear for the angels with that guy leading them.
Belial, it's true Camael can be impulsive and somewhat foolish at times, but he's firm and trustworthy.
Yeah, you're still not helping his case much.
Raziel completely ignored the demon's apt comment.
And more than anything, he's strong. The primary reason he can command an entire group of angels, especially now, with Michael and all the 4 master angels lost, is because people look up to him and admire his inherent strength.
Whoa, is he really that amazing? Then again, I could tell he was something else when I inspected him with my eyes.
Lilith shrugged.
Well, he is a leader of angels, after all, despite appearances.
This has been bothering me for a while now, but was it not Michael who reigned as the head of angels?
That is indeed true. Camael functions more as a leader of troops. Michael's title is certainly not for show, but the highest-ranking angel who fought countless battles at the front lines is, without a doubt, Camael.
Moses beat him to a pulp once, though.
Moses? You mean that Moses? Of the 10 Commandments?
Moses was a well-known prophet mentioned in the Old Testament. Countless records talk of him as a renowned leader and prophet, but I don't ever recall ever seeing him mentioned as a powerful combatant.
It's only natural he would lose to Moses. After all, the Lord himself had given him his blessing. But more importantly...
Guy was a total badass. 2 meters tall and weighing 120 kilos. All in all, he fought the Canaanites while shouldering the Ark of the Covenant with the 10 Commandments inside.
That sound just now? That's history crumbling to dust.
Moses sounds awesome!
I always pictured him as an elderly man with a long white beard.
His belly-to-belly suplexes and left hooks were on the level of the combat techniques one would see during today's Veil Tudos.
Wait, That dimwit challenged him barehanded?
If my opponent fights with his fist, then so shall I, were his exact words. He was tremendously depressed afterwards.
No surprises there.
Guess I can understand that.
Aside from that one exception, Camael's strength is truly peerless. His 3 weapons, destruction, retribution, and death, are particularly fearsome. In fact, it was primarily due to Camael's efforts that we could beat back those monsters from 3 years ago.
Right? That did actually happen, didn't it? Sure brings back memories, huh?
I remember it too. I was only a maiden of 8 years.
Hey.
Hey.
Not buying it.
Lilith, you're not convincing anyone.
I can relate, Lilith. I know, alright. I know.
Lilith's mood darkened. There's no way to console her.
Belial, shouldn't you be on your way to? You're training with Setsuna in 2 days, and we're gonna hold you to that promise.
Belial stood up with a grin. He gives a quick wave.
Anyway, I'll be seeing you in 2 days, Tendu Setsuna. And be prepared to sweat blood by the time we're done. Later.
I appreciate you doing this for me. I shall look forward to our training.
Bye-bye, Professor Via.
It's Kumamoto. Kumamoto. Anyway, I'm off.
Belial left, leaving the room to his usual 4 residents. At least, that's what I would have thought, had Lilith not gotten up and yawned with her arms outstretched.
I'm beat. Dead tired even. This day was just too much. With that said, I'm off to take a bath and hit the sack. So take care of the rest, Kay?
Setsuna did most of the work, though.
Guess so. But you see, I'm a lady, and ladies have tons of stuff to deal with. Anyway, I'll catch you later.
Wait a sec. Might as well use this opportunity, so why don't we take a bath together?
Excuse me? Whoa! You say the lewdest things sometimes, you know that?
No, I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Just a gesture between good friends.
Okay, so why don't you and Setsuna get in the bath together then?
Maybe I won't.
Out with it. What's your deal?
Well, I was just wondering what sort of physique a legendary demon may have, you know? And I'd like to investigate it. Directly.
What? Very well. Tonight you'll learn that they don't call me the Witch of the Night for nothing. What is happening?
Giggling between themselves, Lilith and Sorami took off towards the bathroom. Raziel spoke up. It was like she had just realized something. Something the matter?
I've just realized nothing. Never mind.
Raziel fidgeted about, seemingly overconscious of my presence. It didn't seem like too big of a deal, so I proceeded to sip away at the tea Sorami had prepared. I felt the lukewarm liquid sluggishly crawl its way down to my stomach. The reason's all about healed, but most likely due to the energy I gained from consuming such a large quantity of food. By the time to face Belial in 2 days, I would be able to push myself to the very limits.
Your wound.
My wound? Raziel ran her fingers along my nape, a look of visible concern in her eyes.
Are you alright?
Yes, I should be back in operational shape by tomorrow. She gave me a curious look.
You sort of sound like a robot when you say that.
May not be all that far away from one. Without being aware of it, let a faint yet bitter smile creep onto my lips, alarming Raziel.
You are human, aren't you?
I am. Probably.
Probably.
Opinions may differ on whether or not I am a pure human.
Not pure, but no matter how I look at you, you seem human, even if you do possess superhuman powers.
Noticing Raziel's distress, I decided to make a little confession of my own. That is how I was created.
Created? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Raziel voiced her confusion loud and clear. The details of my birth were complicated, not particularly pleasant. Nonetheless, I had no intention whatsoever to paint myself as the victim. If anything, I was the aggressor in that world, the worst possible kind. After all, I turned my back on the very world that birthed me, razing it to the ground. I, Tendo Setsuna, am an artificially created being. The rapid development of the life sciences eliminated the need for appearance in order to give birth to a human being. The warmth of the mother's womb was no longer needed, even fetal memory existed. This technology served those who, despite wanting children, couldn't give birth to one due to certain circumstances. Whether or not such a practice would be considered ethical varied from people to people. However, I was different. The reasons behind my birth were vile and repulsive. If one were to ask 100 people, all of them would no doubt agree on that front. If Raziel learned all of that, he would no doubt say that God would never allow such a thing. In my world, there existed no God who could forgive anything. However, I decided to hold my tongue and not say a single word. On the other hand, she was an angel with senses far more keen than that of an everyday person.
I promise I won't ever ask you about this again.
Why is that? Raziel placed a hand on my cheek, and of sorrow lingering in her tone.
I mean, it seems like a painful memory to you.
Painful? I didn't feel that way, yet for some reason, I found revealing this information to Raziel tremendously unpleasant. Dread and shame would be insufficient to describe the feeling that assailed me as I thought of my wretchedness being exposed to an angel who had transcended humanity and lived her life in purity. As such, I was glad that she pried no further and decided not to share that information with her, Lilith, or Sorami. I passed it unremarkably in every sense of the word, lacking even a shred of value that would prompt a historian to record it. I was created without a name, was fated to disappear in a similar fashion. So why did I cling so desperately to the name she had given me? It truly was a mystery to me. I simply did not wish to lose my name. I cared little for my 5 senses, nor did I crave omnipotent power. But name, Tendo Setsuna, was one thing I refused to part with.
You seem like you're in pain, but why? You always act so calm and collected.
Maybe because I am. Calm and collected in every situation, being able to face pain, despair, and anguish, head on without batting an eye, unfazed by reality of returning to nothingness upon death. Raziel shook her head. My expression must not have been a pretty sight. After 3 moments of intently gazing into my eyes, Raziel finally spoke up in a quiet tone.
Your favorite food?
Excuse me?
A favorite food. Do you have one?
Following brief moments of contemplation, I presented her with an answer that reflected the reality of my situation the best. I do not. The taste of a meal, be it good or bad, are the personal preferences of the diner, had no impact whatsoever on its nutritional value. As long as one was to consume the necessary amount of nutrients, that'd be enough. Truth be told, I wonder if I even needed that much. If I could supply myself with the necessary amount of calories, the nanomachines in my bloodstream could synthesize nutrients for me.
Wait here a second.
Raziel rushed out the room. However, she didn't go very far as I could hear whispering just outside the door.
Hamburger, sweet tamagoyaki, meat, and potato stew. He ate those today. Rice balls, sausages, curry. Around here, maybe?
What are you doing? As I peeked outside the door to check on Raziel, she abruptly hit something behind herself. Something that could have been a book.
Don't sneak up on me like that!
Raziel glared back at me, unable to hide how flustered she was. Must have inconvenienced her somehow. Sorry.
Good, as long as you understand.
Raziel, bathroom's free. Or Setsuna if you want to go first.
Sorami barged out from the bathroom. Lilith followed behind her with heavy footstep, looking thoroughly dejected.
Just in time. I wanna die.
Raziel and I blinked at her in surprise. Did something happen?
Oh, she's fine, really. It's not something you need to worry about, Setsuna. Right?
Sorami beamed from ear to ear as she tapped Lilith on the shoulder.
Come on, Lilith. Show a bit more enthusiasm.
This is peculiar. Most peculiar indeed. I'm supposed to be the Witch of the Night. Aren't I? Aren't I?
Lilith was gently patting her own chest with a morose expression. Frankly, I had no idea what she was doing. However, the warning sirens in my mind were blaring, loud warning me not to say a thing if I valued my life. As such, I decided to quietly retreat out of sight.
I'll go take the bath next.
Raziel disappeared into the bathroom with silent steps as Lilith and Sorami practically stared at a hole in her back.
I wonder what hers are like. I mean, back then we only saw them through her underwear.
That was enough to make me know my place, though. I mean, you can't seriously be thinking of beating that, right?
No, I mean, sometimes not as firm and shapely, you know? Like, they could droop and sag.
Even though she's an angel?
A single look is worth more than 1,000 words. Follow my lead, Sorami.
Yes, ma'am.
Two girls galloped off towards the bathroom with their respective silly walks. I decided not to get involved, instead opting to make their beds.
She's got a pair of Zara bombs!
I had no idea what the world's most powerful hydrogen bomb developed by the Soviet Union had to do with their conversation. On the other hand, I almost felt like I didn't want to know. That night, Sorami and Lilith went to bed, holding hands, both of them looking positively sullen. Afterwards, I took a light shower to rid myself of the day's grime. My wounds had neatly closed up, so I promptly peeled off the scabs I still had left. They had all served their purpose, were on the verge of falling off, and discarded them in the trash can. Although it did not require sleep, I still cooped myself up in the closet to completely finish my recovery process. My vision had cleared and so did my thoughts, but I would not dream nor would I close my eyes. I certainly did not fear the long night. I simply sat in place, replaying the day's events in my mind. How he toppled the second stratum and fought Kuru Miyako, Abdia's words, to clear hostility I felt towards Adam. The reason why I was here, my as of yet unknown raison d'etre. I glanced outside the window, beheld the makeshift sky with all its stars, more or less, in a correct position thanks to Raziel. I thought them beautiful. Knowing they were fake, I still marvel at their beauty. The realization came just as quick. The reason I had yet to find my raison d'etre was because I myself was a fake human being. Even if I did not sleep, I still closed my eye from time to time to recall days gone by. Nika?
You were born to move in this world in its foundations. Which is why I feel so sorry for you. Your role had been set in stone from the beginning to end. You are to be reverenced, respected, worshipped. This is to be your life, your never-ending mission. And that is something I cannot bear. So please.
Tears trickled down my mother's cheeks. I myself couldn't grasp her reasons, but whatever tormented her must have been unbearable. Please, don't cry. Let the words seep through my lips. My mother, still teary-eyed, simply shook her head and whispered into my ear.
You are human. My one and only Setsuna.
My words were blessing and curse married into one. They made me yield to temptation, to fear. And it broke my heart. That was enough. I decided to stop. Shouldering that curse, those feelings, and even love, as well as the lives of 10 billion people, I continued to live, an imposter in human form. I turned around and saw Lilith, Raziel, and Sorami, all resting peacefully under their blankets. Even angels and demons required sleep. Suddenly found myself at ease. My hands no longer trembled. Lilith relied on me. Sorami had faith in me. As for Raziel, well, at the very least, she considered me an ally. But one's gaze lingered too long in the past. She'd risk letting their future slip by. I need to keep my eyes on my feet constantly, to make sure I did not stray from the dark road I walked, so that I could find the right path. For the time being, that would be enough. But the feeling that a sliver of light had ever so slightly illuminated the dark path of mine. Not just that. I felt a presence, lighted in the air my right arm. We spent the next day in idleness. The three girls went their separate ways, each doing whatever they pleased, as I too decided to take a quiet stroll around the campus. My recovery was all but complete. Pain had long since faded. Be able to participate in Belial's training without any problems. Next day, I made my way to the gymnasium, just like I promised. Belial stood in the middle of the basketball court, looking like his usual self while performing a number of warm-up exercises.
Ah, there you are. So, you up for this, son?
Yes, thank you for having me today. In this place, I was his pupil, he was the teacher. As such, I saw fit to respond with appropriate politeness. Not because I feared receiving a penalty of sorts, but rather because I felt it necessary. I felt my heart tighten as I stood in front of Belial. What I felt then must have been fear, yet as the Demon Lord's gaze pierced me, I detected nothing from him. No hatred, no hostility. His very presence made fear seep into the depths of my heart, clutching it tightly in his grasp.
Right then. Despite my looks, I'm an intellectual among intellectuals. A jurish, actually. But the fact that I'm also a demon lord draws a clear line between myself and a mortal like you. You do understand that, right?
Yes, I do.
This secret, naturally, lies in the magical energy. a power far transcending the laws of physics. One that angels and demons alike possess. That's the key.
With a single snap of his finger, Belial engulfed the area around me in violent flames. They burned for a split second, then vanished like they were never there to begin with.
The four basic elements, fire, water, earth, and air, are each governed by the laws of physics. However, the moment you tap into magic, a power existing outside that category, you are able to break free from such laws.
Another snap of his finger robbed the vicinity of air, preventing me from breathing. After a few seconds, he snapped again, making the air return.
So yeah, it works a bit like this. Seeing how you live in this world now, I'm assuming you understand it on a theoretical level.
Lilith gave me an explanation of the basics.
Good. That means we don't need to go over it again. Let's move on. The thing is, even angels and demons have their strengths and weaknesses when it comes to these elements. Take Lilith, the Witch of the Night, for example. She's no good with fire.
Bright flames were not fit for the black of night, for they clash with her very essence, that is, darkness. Must have been the idea behind it.
Conversely, most angels have an aversion to the element of earth. I mean, they spent entire millennia up in heaven, drifting among the clouds like a bunch of jellyfish, you know?
Belial let out an enthusiastic guffaw. I pictured Raziel floating in the clouds like a jellyfish and found it awfully fitting.
So anyway, in order for you to fight the masters on equal footing, you must have complete understanding of the power we call magic, the very force that exists outside the boundaries of the four elements.
Complete understanding?
When it comes to observing magic, forget the laws of physics. However, you should be able to sense it around you. By the way, seeing how Sorami has Gethel's eyes, observation should be no problem for her.
Very well, I would attempt to sense your magic. The first day I arrived here, Lilith gave me some training.
Huh. Okay then.
The moment he said that, something crashed into my face with a strength that broke some bones in my neck. Gah!
How'd that feel? Couldn't sense it, could ya?
Immediately began mending the broken bones, reconnecting nerves while alleviating pain with a dose of sedatives. The entire process still left me immobilized for over 10 seconds. I could not feel a thing.
An invisible strike that comes at the speed of sound without warning, unable to be perceived even when one's intuition. In human terms, I guess it's basically like a flick on the forehead.
This was a flick on the forehead? Broke my bones. Either way, I finished recovering and stood up.
You're not observing magic. You're only perceiving it. When you face off against masters in the third stratum and beyond, you won't get far unless you can do the former.
According to Belial, there's a huge difference between the perception and observation of magic. There are former men trying to detect magic through sheer intuition. The latter, on the other hand, also rely on ability surpassing intuition in order to observe and sense the flow of magical energy.
Being able to keenly observe the flow of magic will only give you a split-second advantage in battle. But against the masters, it will make all the difference.
The first skill I needed to master was the observation of magic. How am I supposed to master this? Belial produced a wolfish grin at my question, kinda rivaled Lilith's in terms of being able to send a chill down my spine. And I thought about it, even back then.
Tell me, son, do you believe theory alone is going to prepare you for what's to come?
I didn't realize I had a bad feeling about all this.
scream, worship, despair, and extol. For I am the worthless one.
He erected pillars of fire, water, earth, and air around himself. Each was placed around Belial, with the demon lord standing in the center.
You ready for this? And don't come crying at me if you end up kicking in the bucket.
I steeled my heart, locked my gaze on him, prepared myself for the worst, then began the process of observation. The first strike came from a pillar of fire.
All right, he's having his training around this time. Kinda curious. So I guess I'll go take a little peek.
The more Lilith pushed the gym doors open, she was immediately struck by a fierce shockwave.
Whoa! What the hell?
The entire gym was in a complete state of ruin. Parts of the protective barrier to set up had been damaged, others blown clean away. The bits that still stood were smeared in lots of dark crimson.
Let's continue. I'll be shutting down your senses of vision, hearing, smell, and taste. Evade my blows by relying only on your sense of touch.
Belial snapped his fingers.
Wow, you guys are sure going at it.
Belial launched two pillars, one of fire, another of air, towards Setsuna. No, someone else narrate this. You know what, Duck, you narrate.
Fanned by the wind, the flames expanded at a terrifying speed. Lilith saw that the spot Belial occupied was a safe zone and proceeded to approach the Demon Lord.
Belial, how's he doing?
So.
He then wasted no time in sending a pillar of earth in Setsuna's direction.
Solidification, level 10. Diamond.
In the span of a heartbeat, the pillar of earth hardened to precious stone. Setsuna attempted to dodge it, but was too late and found his flank pierced by the attack.
With only his sense of touch intact, I guess he won't be able to perceive it until he gets real close.
If he was able to sense the flow of magic, he could easily determine its vector though.
The core of this type of training relied on forcing the trainee to sense the flow of magic by gradually robbing him of all his senses. Belial, however, only left Setsuna with 1 out of 5 senses right off the bat, with the intention of hastening the process. The whole process would lose meaning if he died before mastering that skill though. Still, Setsuna gave his consent, wishing to achieve results in as short a span of time as possible.
As long as he can take it, I'm planning to rob him of all his senses, 6th included. You okay with that, Lilith?
Go ahead.
Lilith's answer came without hesitation. It may have seemed cruel, but she was tightly balling her hand into a fist soon afterwards. He wouldn't get far if a training session of this caliber gave him a hard time. In the near future, he would be faced with situations far more terrifying than this. Battles where he could easily perish, and he would need to emerge victorious.
Do it.
But above all else, Tendo Setsuna himself would never choose the easy way out. Belial's yell roared across the gym.
Hey, Setsuna! Can you detect the vibrations of my voice through your sense of touch?
I can, more or less.
With his eyes closed, Setsuna nodded in the direction of the voice. Belial looked at him with approval.
Next, I'm going to shut down all 5 of your senses, then your 6th. You can't evade my attacks with intuition here. All you're getting is blind luck. Unless you learn to sense the flow of my magic, you may even die.
Rare the risk.
Right then, here we go. Fire, water, earth, air. All pillars ready to fire.
The 4 pillars all shot out at Setsuna simultaneously.
Huh?
Setsuna pressed his hand against the floor, almost like he was doing a crouching start.
Status confirmed. I reanalyzed my current situation. I saw find my senses along with the so-called 6-1. I failed to read the flow of the air, hear the sounds around me, and perceive smells. Even as I opened my mouth, I tasted nothing. Magic was an attribute that resided in a position far transcending those senses. Magic or witchcraft normally made people think of demons, but angels tapped into this power all the same. In fact, calling it a force could have been a more appropriate name. It was neither solid, nor liquid, nor gaseous. A force that refused to fall under any category in nature. If I failed to sense that energy, I could very well die here today. No, I had to rephrase that. I would die for certain, not now then some other day in the future. I don't wish to fail, let alone perish. It was all at once engulfed by raging hot flames. My sense of touch may have been shut down, yet the pain still remained. Next came a pillar of ice-cold water, then a diamond one, biting into my flesh. Crippling pain ravaged me, anguish far surpassing what I had prepared myself for. Even biting back my own screams felt an arduous toil. Why did I have to feel pain? Someone like me did not need that sensation. These thoughts sluggishly floated through my mind in the midst of all this. Indeed, the issue came up when I was created. That is, whether or not I need to feel pain, or not I should be given the sensation of agony and hardship. Many argued I did not need any such thing. That was the way it should have been. I could finally realize that now. So why did I feel pain? To this day, I treasured all my memories of her, so I could easily recall the conversation in question with no particular difficulty.
Is that me?
Yes.
Pain is necessary. It's certainly true that for our goals, we don't need it. But we must make him walk for the road at its very end. As long as he feels pain, he won't be tainted. As long as he faces hardship, he'll keep pressing on, craving to reach the end of the long road. This is not up for debate. It's already been decided.
Long road. Ultimately, I can reach its end. They couldn't make me. Might have been a more apt expression. It was indeed necessary to push me onwards, driving me to desperation, making me desperate to live. Suddenly, I could feel something. I forced my body into motion, having sensed something that went beyond mere sight, hearing, and touch. If I had to liken it to anything, it felt almost like having a third eye opened, an eye that sensed but one thing: magic. 4 rectangular objects gather around something emanating tremendously powerful magical energy. I suppose that would be Belial. Next time I sensed someone also radiating magical energies. Most likely Lilith. Finally managed to see the flow of magic. Realization that made me lower my guard. My vision went black instantly. You fool! Pay more attention, will you? The words might have come from Belial, Lilith, or even myself. Either way, it's a cute warning. Pushed me to once again focus my mind. I already grasped the basic of the technique once. As such, could easily replicate it. The pillar of fire mounted an assault. I successfully leapt out of its way. Next came a pillar of water, ready to tear me to shreds. This time, I evaded by ducking. As I kept evading the incoming attacks, the pillars soon moved in for a simultaneous strike. However, despite their astonishing speeds, They travel at simple trajectories, making it easy for me to predict their movements. Her son snapped her fingers. A moment later, I felt a surge of instant pain within my body. I wasn't being attacked. I just regained control of my lost senses.
Alright, good. Why don't we move on to the next phase?
The 4 pillars split up into several smaller ones. I soon found myself weathering the onslaught of 32 slender javelins.
You can use all 5 of your senses, even the 6th one if you like. But keep in mind that unless you find a way to sense the flow of magic, you'll just be impaled. Got it?
The javelins all shut up once before Belial even finished his sentence. Their speed exceeded that of sound. Neither my sense of sight nor hearing could keep up with them. The 6th sense proved similarly useless here. The attack had no blind spots whatsoever. When the javelins impaled my palm, and I sank deep into my abdomen, ice cold pain flared in my entire body as my nostrils drank in the stench of burning flesh. Simple evasion proved insufficient here. What's that to do then? All weapons at my disposal, including the ones within my body, were seared away beforehand, with one thing to rely on. Magical attacks were allowed, but I could not use any such art. In that case, I need to master it. Right here, right now. I come to assess the chaos of my thoughts. No matter how logically I thought it through, I couldn't possibly cloud myself with magical energies. In fact, I need to tap into the illogical, casting aside principle, ignoring the proper process, only yearning for the end result. In other words, literally cloud myself in magic. I meant to overturn the very laws of physics I believed in, alongside common sense. Not an easy task at any rate, and I would certainly not be given the luxury of a sudden awakening where I could master this skill in a heartbeat. I managed to slowly see the flow of magic. I focused my attention on it. Spending all willpower I had to properly sense the magical energies around me. I used my eyes, ears, nose, and my tongue to force awareness on myself. Full awareness of the power known as magic. Indeed, for awareness was of paramount importance at all times. You could perceive the flow of time by glancing at the clock. At times, even 10 seconds, short seconds could feel like eternity. However, if one was not consciously aware of its flow, 10 mere seconds flew by in an instant. Awareness. 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 Awareness! I seized the vague existence known as magic, put it within the boundaries of my own realm. However, the world was not so kind after all.
I think we can call it a day for now.
Belial's grin broadened as he inspected me, thoroughly impaled by a number of javelins, on the verge of death from blood loss. Thank you very much for your tutelage. I rose to my feet, on the verge of vomiting.
You're gonna run out of blood at this rate. Quickly, gulp it back down.
That wouldn't solve anything, though. For the time being, I began to regenerate lost blood through my nanomachines. Having used up all my stored up energy reserves, I found myself suffering from severe hunger.
Yeah, just go to the infirmary for now.
No need. As long as I have dinner, I can recover. Even better if I could have high concentration like nutrients.
That's an awfully convenient body you've got there.
All right, fine. Here, lean on me. Heave ho!
She helped lift me up without waiting for an answer.
See you tomorrow, son.
Yes, sir.
Ah, one more thing before you go. It's about Adam. If we were to say your magic was 100, his number would be 2 digits larger than yours.
I had but a small victory to celebrate, but the road ahead was still long and arduous, and long before I could catch up to Adam's power level. Is that so? Belial flashed a sadistic grin.
Yep. So, still got your motivation?
Belial, that's enough!
I do. Spoke up, interrupting Lilith mid-sentence.
Looks like you stopped bleeding.
Lilith wiped my arms and forehead with a white handkerchief. I could still feel the cloth absorbing my blood with every movement she made.
I mean, I can't exactly let you sit down at the dinner table looking like that. Sorami and Raziel are both weak to the sight of blood.
It certainly made sense. Once she was done, Lilith folded her handkerchief back up, tucking it away. I should wash the handkerchief for you.
Oh, don't bother. It's fine. I'll just lick it clean later.
She promptly licked her lips. I promptly retreated a few steps backwards.
Hey, it's just a little demon joke. It'd be nice if you didn't look like me like it would. It'd be nice if you didn't look at me like I just killed a person.
It wasn't exactly the best of jokes, though. Next day, I continued my training with Belial.
Right then, from this day onwards, we're ditching the kiddie pool and going full-on carnage mode. If you end up dying because of a poorly timed dodge, well, I guess that'll be that.
I'm gonna sue this buffoon.
Began a training session not entirely unlike yesterday's as Lilith spectated from the back. Today was full-on carnage mode, seemed like. The moment we began the session, all my senses were cut off. It hardly mattered though, as I had already succeeded in detecting the flow of magic through makeshift sight, hearing, and touch. Perfect strike flew at me, one without any blind spots. A poor strength is my right arm. Unlike last night, evasion would be hopeless. I need to counter with magic of my own, and so I tend to recall that particular sensation I felt during the last session. I tried to recreate the exact state it was in at night. No, I needed to do more than just try. I had to do it. I strained on nerves in my right arm, circulating a vast amount of data at incredible speed. Indeed, to give birth to magic, one needed the kind of data none of the five senses could perceive. Bundles of data, fire, water, earth, and air, data representing the javelins, making use of those elements as weapons. The data, that is, the magic of my right arm, could be freely changed, manipulated through my input. Gauntlet. I offer something visually easy to comprehend, molding the data of my right arm. I willed a steel gauntlet to existence.
Oh my.
I slammed my gauntlet into a group of data, indicating javelins, and kept heading, and heading.
Very good. Splendid work.
By the time I realized my five senses had returned to normal, I appeared to have cleared today's session without problems. Success!
My, I don't get to see you strike a victory pose every day.
Oh, come on. And I felt like doing it from time to time. Either way, it's brought my training to a close. Belial, I was going to ask him if I was ready to finish training. Only pointed a finger at me while shaking his head.
Well now, let's dive into ultra hardcore Phantasmagoria mode. Here we go.
There was another level? Belial lightly leapt into the air, a signal to Lilith that she should stay at a safe distance. Next moment, the demon lord known as the Worthless One launched a full frontal attack my way without even a hint of holding back. Each of the javelins raining down upon me were more than powerful enough to take my life.
I sure hope you got your raincoat ready, Setsuna. With that said, die.
Whoa, hold your horses, you can't just kill him!
The relentless downpour of a myriad javelins did truly resemble a rainstorm. I was not a fan of rain, especially the kind that could kill me with a single drop. This was Death incarnate. The image of death burned deep into my retinas, much like the time I had fought Abdiel a few days ago. Had at least enough time to take a deep breath. It was enough to calm me, along with the air I exhaled, to rid myself of all confusion. Initially thought to recreate the same gauntlet I used before, to allow me to deflect each and every incoming javelin. But that didn't work. If the javelins had found a spot on me I couldn't deflect the gauntlet, that'd be the end of me. Relying only on the gauntlet was out of question. I need to strengthen my defenses even further. With a shield, perhaps? One would protect my entire body. I could also go with a protective full body armor. No, those wouldn't work either. The magical energies hurling my way displayed terrifying power. If I strengthened my defenses, just one strike would be enough to kill me. In that case, how was I to proceed? Evasion? Out of question. No living creature could possibly dodge every single drop of a downpour. Do I truly have no other options than to perish?
Setsuna! Magic is not bound by anything. Discover its potential.
As Lilith's words reached my ears, I couldn't help but notice Belial's frowning upon beyond his rainstorm javelins. In short, there was something in Lilith's words that could help me. But what? Magic wasn't bound by anything. I had to discover its potential. I wasn't doing that up till now. My mind raced, piling theory upon theory, finally arriving at a conclusion. Ah! So that's what she had meant. There was no need for me to deflect anything. If I couldn't repel them, I simply had to tap into another attribute to render javelins impotent. Magic was not bound by the laws of nature. Instead, it existed as bundles of data, nothing more. Indeed, magic held infinite potential. Whatever the laws of physics did not permit, its power could make possible. So trample over him. The one phrase burned bright in my mind. Very well, let's do this. Molding magic's unbound potential into form would give birth to something that could far exceed even Belial's attacks. I pictured a shield of thorns. With that, a great multitude of thorny vines sprang forth from my right palm. Reacting to the incoming javelins, the thorn-clad vines shot out, entangling each and every one of them. Once that had happened, began the process of data erosion. Fire data invalidated, water data invalidated, air data invalidated, earth data invalidated. Losing their prior vigor, the javelins each fell useless onto the ground. Some evaporated like boiling water, others burned to cinders in an instant, vanishing from sight. The thorny vines extended further and further, devouring more javelins along the way. Once they extended to their maximum, when I had used up all my available magic, the javelins too dispersed into thin air. Exhaled a sigh, feeling like my very soul could come rushing out of my mouth at any second. With my whole body weary and exhausted from combat, I couldn't help but collapse onto my knees. Got rid of that magically created vines. The battle seemed to have come to an end.
Alright, we're done.
Belial spoke with a tone of casual conversation. Are we done with training?
Well, yeah. I think you managed to get the basics down. All that's left is polishing your skills in live combat. I don't want to do overtime, that's for sure.
The Demon Lord smiled again, officially bringing our training session to a close. Will I truly manage like this? Belial shrugged.
For the record, I'm still a Demon Lord, you know. And pretty high rank one, too. You withstood both my 4 pillars and javelin downpour, so I'd say you could easily kick a second or third rate demon's butt into Kingdom Come at this rate.
How about first class Demon Lord?
A first class Demon Lord? Well, let's just say you get stronger by the time you happen to meet someone like that. You gotta get there on your own, though.
He was right. In order to get stronger, I need to deepen my knowledge of magic. Simple training would help me achieve that. Either way, I comprehended the basics. All that's left is testing it out in live combat.
So, considering the amount of work you made me do, I'm gonna need some suitable compensation for my efforts.
Belial threw a glance at Lilith.
Compensation? Fine. As long as it doesn't hinder his pilgrimage.
Oh. Incidentally, by the way of collective responsibility, you, Raziel, and Sorami will also have to offer something in return. How does that sound?
Oh? And what exactly did you have in mind,
For some reason, hostility rang clear in Lilith's tone as she responded.
Relax. It's nothing earth-shattering. Just something along the lines of entertaining me while you all dress in a maid outfit or a bunny suit.
Lilith nearly face-palmed.
Man, you think like an old geezer from Japan. Ugh, it's giving me a migraine.
Well, you can table it until the third stratum is liberated. Just so we can make sure the training paid off.
I suddenly feel like making it all the way to the gates of heaven. Anyway, feel free to use that time and decide exactly what kind of cosplay you're gonna make us wear.
Oh, you gonna do it?
Sure, why not? I'm confident Raziel and Sorami would be up for anything.
It didn't seem like she herself had any intention of doing it, though.
Oh, very good. Very good indeed. Be right back. I'm off to the library to study the intricacies of Japanese culture.
Positively ecstatic, Belial hurried off towards the library.
You think he's off to study modern Japanese culture, or something a touch lewder? Wanna make a bet?
I was not particularly fond of gambling. Besides, the answer appeared to have been quite evident, so there's no point to it. Lilith peered at me with a curious look in her eyes. I averted my gaze, but after enduring her scrutinizing gaze for a few seconds, I had to ask if there was a problem.
Sorry. Call it a hunch, but I get the feeling you're this close to proclaiming your raison d'etre to this world. Kinda had that thought just now.
She ran a finger along my cheeks. Once I do that, will that change me in any way?
Who knows? Maybe you'll be reborn as a new man, as convenient as that may sound. Or perhaps you'll just come to reevaluate your life up till now.
I think giggle escaped the demon's lips. And a handful of days have passed since we braved the second stratum, but my heart awash with a series of peculiar sensations. I looked at the lunchbox Raziel had prepared for me.
Phew, it's done, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the end, as Raziel could prepare the meal on her own, she swallowed her pride and asked Sorami for help.
A box lunch? Sure, I'll help.
She neither hesitated or made fun of her, and I felt the need to ask why Raziel wanted to cook.
Wonder if we should do it the Japanese way.
Wait, is this someone else narrating? Manny, you narrate.
He was Japanese, so Raziel assumed making a meal like that would be fine. She certainly did not forget about Lilith, though. Rice balls, fried chicken, tamagoyaki. That's it, right? Tamagoyaki. Then 2 apples for dessert, cut up into rabbit shapes. She was confident she could pull it off. She would have preferred to give it to him while they still had some time off at the academy, but...
Don't worry, he'll kick the third stratum's master's butt before noon. We can have a bite afterwards.
Kugutsu Sorami. A girl of no outstanding features. Your everyday human who got dragged into Tokyo Babel by pure chance. the odds of which rivaled that of winning the lottery. He was also in the section of Gethel's eyes, a powerless young girl who set out on her pilgrimage, and yet she and Setsuna formed the core of their group. Sorami was able to easily stand up to and engage with the two highest powers of Tokyo Babel, Astaroth and Camael. She seemed to not feel fear the way others did. And she had a talent for cooking. Raziel, even with all human knowledge at her disposal, was unable to do what she did and ended up begging her for help. Raziel wondered if she should feel humiliated. A proud angel no doubt would have, but she knew that mere knowledge and actual reality were clearly different beasts. The difference between memorizing a recipe and cooking the meal were night and day. Raziel did, however, find the situation somewhat vexing, not because Sorami could do something the angel had failed to master, but rather she couldn't help the feeling like she'd asked for help from a rival. In any event, Raziel could have time later to sort out these peculiar feelings of hers. They would finally move on to the third stratum today. She needed to prepare for that journey.
Sorami, I wouldn't say this is my way of thanks, but please do keep this on you.
Raziel handed her a pendant crafted in the image of Gabriel's horn. It was imbued with the power of water.
If my expectations are correct, we're going to a really hot area today, but with this, you could even jump into lava and remain unscathed.
Wow, thank you. Phew, and here I thought I'd be getting nasty sunburns.
You might want to worry about burning to death before that.
Raziel wasn't quite sure whether or not Sorami had heard her. Either way, she seemed jubilant with her new gift and proceeded to try it on right away.
So I guess we're on support duty, huh?
Raziel nodded. Much like last time, all three of them, Sorami, Raziel, and Lilith, would support him in his efforts. But that wouldn't make the journey any easier. One of them would need to protect Sorami. Lilith made it absolutely clear she wouldn't do it, but Raziel was certain she would change her mind if the situation turned desperate. And from the third stratum onwards, they would also need to make sure not to let their minds succumb to madness. Gabriel's pendant held the power not only to protect Sorami from fire, but from mental contamination as well. On the other hand, most prior pilgrims had all worn accessories of a similar nature, so Raziel questioned whether or not there was any point to it at all. To have one's mind claimed by madness. Pilgrims in the past began to feel worse soon after they had toppled the second stratum. They would complain of headaches, hallucinations, hearing things, and experiencing overwhelming emotions. Upon reaching the fourth stratum, they would undergo visible physical changes as well, such as sprouting wings resembling that of angels or demons, or gaining powers that could manipulate their surroundings. Then would be reborn as masters around this time. Consequently, not a single human had managed to reach the fifth stratum up until now.
I sure hope this goes well.
Me too.
They had to make sure they succeeded, and and Raziel needed to hand her box lunch over to Setsuna. He hoped it would be to his liking.
What's up?
And if he does, what then?
Huh? What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Raziel was at a complete loss, unable to explain her feelings. She knew the third stratum was their top priority, yet a small portion, or maybe two small portions, of her mind simply couldn't let go of that lunchbox. Raziel decided to put her book out of her mind and redirect the rest of her attention to solving the problem of the third stratum.
Let us go then.
The girls met up with Setsuna and the others, then set out on their journey to the third stratum, hoping to eventually pave the way towards heaven.
Same as before.
Oh
no, it's fine.
Sorry.
Same as before, we opened the gates with 2 keys, one of gold, one of silver. However, we soon noted it definitely changed compared to last time.
Ugh, it's hot in here. Scalding even.
Huh? Really? I'm actually a little cold.
Well, duh. You have that thing hanging from your neck.
Sorami's pendant was made in the shape of Gabriel's horn, one of the symbols of the angel. It came imbued with the power of water, and its effect was constantly active, able to shield the damn it. With my nanomachines, I could partially restrain my respiratory functions, having droplets of sweat trickle down my forehead in the heat of battle could easily spell my doom. As for discomfort arising from the heat itself, my brain had to block it out.
The heat.
I think you got cut off there. Raziel? Natalie?
Is it something? Oh no.
It's weird because the stream is still coming through.
Yeah, the stream's still there, but
I can hear you guys, but not Natalie.
Oh, wait.
Okay, I can hear you now. Okay,
what the fuck happened there?
good question.
The heat really is intense.
I mean, I lived around the Red Sea, so I'm used to the heat, but man.
We reached the gates as the scathing air drifted languidly around us, creating waves of shimmering heat haze. I am opening it. I seized the handle without waiting for an answer. The heat, no doubt, left him without the strength to do so, and opened up the gate. The heat intensified, to the point where I feared it could actually scald my skin. Either way, I continued pushing the gate open. Here we go. As the door is being held shut by something, I could only assume was air pressure, and I'm tapping into the power of Tachikawa Wo, the god of might, in order to force it open. Beyond the gate, we were greeted by a city engulfed in flames. Specifically, we're in the Kuraku district, somewhere closer to Tsudobashi Station, before its towering colossal dome, ravaged by fire.
Whoa, the dome's on fire.
Sorami found herself at a loss for words. Was it just a dome? The entire district had been reduced to a sea of flames. Raziel, Lilith, and I all promptly erected protective magic barriers of water to shield itself from the heat, which by the way had escalated to unbearable levels.
You definitely don't see stuff like this every day, huh?
You could say that again. was in complete agreement with Sorami's assessment. The flames showed no sign of dying down or even weakening. They kept burning with consistent intensity. The black smoke emerging from the fire blotted out the sky, darkening the heavens like it was in the middle of the night. All in all, astonishing sight.
Reminds me of the fires of Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction.
I'd say this is worse.
Lilith walked up to a nearby flame and touched it barehanded. Sorami grasped in surprise. The demon remained unharmed due to the shielding effects of her water barrier.
This fire was created through magic, which means the entire city and district will keep on burning until the one responsible for this kicks the bucket.
Words filled me with an inexplicable feeling of discomfort. Eternal hellfire, perpetual torrent of flames. Something like that had no place in this world.
To make matters worse, I'm picking up traces of magic from all over the place, so it's hard to pinpoint the exact location of anything around here.
Lilith shrugged and glanced in the direction of the dome.
Well, if I was the master of this place, I'd set up my base over there. That's for sure.
The dome's roof had long since perished through the flames, its massive shape reminiscent of an oversized stove. If hell had a stove, it would look like this. That much I was concerned of. Similarly, the fire-ravaged construct had a king of his own. He must have resided somewhere within. Alone, in complete solitude, watching as kingdom burned to ashes. For a moment, I felt something disrupt my vision. At the third stratum, visual hallucinations were among the first symptoms of mental collapse. A hallucination of that caliber would not hinder me just yet. My experience just now must have been caused by the influence of Stratum's master. Still, just to be on a safe side, I isolated a blank region in my mind, completely separate from my normal consciousness, so I could effectively quarantine all incoming contamination in there.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Sorami was pressing her hand against her head. Noticing it, Lilith rushed up to the girl and placed a hand on her shoulder.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just need some medication for this headache and I'll be fit as a fiddle. Don't you worry.
I see. Glad to hear your endurance is top-notch.
Silencing her anxiety, Sorami placed her hand on Lilith's head.
You're such a worrywart, Lilith.
Color returned to Sorami's complexion. It appeared she really was all right, much like she had calmed. Claimed, for now at least. Alright, I'm moving out.
And I
stream
think the
crashed
stream
anyway?
died. Yeah.
Is it frozen?
Yeah.
Oh.
Gross.
I see the rotating cubes of death.
Oh boy. Is the
I just-
heat really on? Is that what just happened?
This fire must really be intense if it's burning out the stream.
The fire took over.
In the names of Franz Ferdinand, this fire is out of.
It became overheated.
It's so frisky.
What?
How about now?
Good night.
Yeah,
I can see it now.
Yeah.
I think I can see it.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Break a leg.
Just as I was about to leap into the skies, I felt someone pulling the cuff of my uniform. What's the matter, Raziel?
Oh.
For some reason, both Sorami and Lilith retreated about 3 steps from where Raziel and I were standing. Angel looked into my eyes while sheepishly twiddling her fingers.
Lunch.
Lunch? She nodded.
I made you lunch.
Thanks. But what about it?
So, once you get back, we could maybe eat it together?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay.
As Raziel smiled, I gave her an awfully confused nod.
That's all I wanted to say.
I see. In that case, I should be off. Raziel turned oddly dispirited. In response, Lilith and Sorami's expression distorted with unbridled fury. They seemingly wanted me to continue the conversation, for some reason. Your box lunch.
Huh?
It's just that. I'm growing somewhat curious as to what is going to be inside. Raziel's mood brightened in an instant. She threw a playful wink my way.
That's a secret.
Oh. I suppose we would find out when the time came, then? I see. In that case, I'll be looking forward to it.
Thanks.
A curt, straightforward answer, just as always. Her expression, on the other hand, was brighter than I've ever seen. I pushed myself up from the ground and took to the skies, soaring straight towards the Tokyo Dome. Flames erupted in all directions, arranged and infernal, burning bright like a veil of crimson. I soared upwards, going as high as I possibly could, and cast my gaze on the sports field. The more I did, I felt a terrible chill surge through my body. In the midst of the boiling heat, fear. What? What in the world happened here? My heart raced into my chest like a locomotive. Could I have felt that chill due to the sheer abnormality of the sight I now beheld? Clutching my chest, inspecting my surroundings, and spotted several burnt corpses down below. They weren't simply dead bodies, though. They were all impaled on massive stakes. The way their bodies burned reminded me, as horrible as that may sound, of meat on a skewer. To my horror, I watched as the corpses wriggled in the midst of the flames. Impossible. They were still alive. As the screams echoed throughout the area, the impaled victims all began desperately squirming on their stakes. The overwhelming repulsive wretchedness of all of it made my stomach turn. I was unable to tell whether these people still live or if they were being kept alive by something. And very well have been dead men wriggling to a puppeteer's tune, perhaps slaves to some other unknown force. What did I know is that I needed to find and defeat the master of this stratum as soon as possible. I made myself focus on something else. These people are simply background scenery. Their cries of terror mere auditory hallucinations. Exiled the horrific sound, sight to a distant corner of my mind so it wouldn't hinder me during combat. Made my way to the center, surrounded at all angles by flames violent enough to shroud my vision. There was someone standing in a baseball mount. It was, without a doubt, the master of the stratum. Either Hinoi, Wataru, or his guardian demon. What? I believed my eyes, simply staring all at what I was seeing, forgetting for a moment in the oppressive heat. Someone had stabbed Hinoi Wataru with a sword. Someone had killed the man who was supposed to be the master of this entire realm. Someone who could easily trample even a man as terrifying as the... Could easily trample even a man as terrifying as the fire-clad Hinoi Wataru, crushing him like a child with a discarded toy. It was a young man of smallish frame, his back adorned by 6 wings of azure fire. The number of wings he possessed indicated that he belonged to the Order of Seraphs, the higher-ranking angels in the celestial hierarchy. After nonchalantly tossing Hinoi Wataru's lifeless body aside, he turned to look at me. And so our eyes met. Duck? You let out a laugh.
Do you want to burn right along with them?
His smile broadened as he uttered the words, prompting me to involuntarily retreat back a few steps. The person could very well have been Hinoi Wataru had just been killed by him. Who in the world was he?
The flame of God.
The moment he uttered those words, the boy's identity became clear as day. He was no ordinary being. He had to be one of the 4 Master Angels, the one bearing the title of the Flame of God. Uriel.
Burn and burn and burn and burn until nothing is left! Let my flame, God's flame, cleanse you of impurity!
Looked upon me with a hollow gaze, smiled grim like the dark of midnight.
You and Lilith, and that girl, and Astaroth, and Camael, and Belial, and the whole of Pandora, may it all go up in flames!
His words drilled into my heart like the echo of a joyous gospel. That was a dangerous sign, so I promptly sealed his words away in that isolated corner of my mind to protect myself from mental contamination. And then, measured game and composure, Uriel stepped forward. His intentions, whether he was friend or foe, were clear as day. Pulled up a Keddy sword. According to Lilith, the fact that I had now learned to control magic should amplify its power. Indeed, just holding my hand allowed me to feel a tremendous amount of energy coursing through its blade, and I found myself surprised. Did the whole power equaling that of Uriel, though? The answer was no.
Hey you! That sword belongs to me! Its blade can brand sinners and have them look their own wicked ways in the eye. It's a very, very important sword to me, you see.
Uriel's expression contorted with anger as his mouth gaped open.
Give it back!
And when a scream left his lips, I found my body blown clear away by magical force of astonishing magnitude, rolling and tumbling backwards at high speed. As he blew me away, I crashed into a row of audience seats, destroying everything in my path, be it the plastic chairs, metal railing, or the concrete steps, finding my body half embedded in the ground. That was no attack. All I gave was a scream. The sheer horror of that realization sent a chill down my spine. His very scream displayed power enough to set me flying. His rank as one of the 4 greats came as no surprise indeed. However, he seemed to have long since been robbed of all shred of reason and intelligence.
Purify, purify, purify! I'll purify you! Cleanse you! Purge you! Turn you into a bundle of clean white atoms! I'll right your wrongs! I'll set you free!
The echo of his frenzied cries permeated my heart, filling me with dread. I gritted my teeth and fought back against it, isolating a fear. I rose to my feet. At the moment, a few moments of hesitation, chose to summon the sin of sloth. A large wave of molten gold rained down upon him all at once. Uriel, however, evaporated all but a single wave of his hand.
My turn now.
Just like that, I lost sight of him. But I failed to detect him with my eyes, I could sense the vector of his magical energies to pinpoint his location, which was to the right, within 1 meter proximity. I had 2 options, to leap or to counterattack. I chose the latter. I flung my blade to the right while leaving time for myself to even see what was there. Clean hit.
Oh, it hurts! It hurts! It hurts! It hurts!
Uriel stopped my blade with his bare hands as droplets of fresh blood trickled down to the concrete floor below, and a sizzling noise as they reached the ground.
My lifeblood burns fierce, and so do the very words I breathe. God showers me with his divine love, and so I embrace this pain with open arms, for it exists to test my faith in the Lord. My name proclaims my raison d'etre. In short, I live as the flame of God!
A moment later, temperatures around us rose to unimaginable heights. I used all my power to erect a protective water barrier, but its soothing influence lasted a mere heartbeat. Uriel's violent blast sent me flying to the skies.
This world is ruled by fire. Everything here is fated to be cleansed, burned clean into oblivion!
The wave of intense azure flame lashed out of Uriel's wings, coiling into a tornado as it crashed into me. The attack sent me flying all the way to its long roge, stretching outside the dome. The fact that none of my limbs were torn off in the blast bordered on the miraculous, no doubt the effect of the astounding amount of magic I used up in the process. Led near the three girls and heard Sorami gasp in surprise.
Setsuna?